How's everybody doing? My name is Glyphic, and today I want to talk about this build I made called Anti-Punch Amara, which is a face puncher build, but it is not a melee build. The damage is not like the traditional, like you hit someone with melee, do a lot of damage, and then you have like a shock stone Citic charge, or like an elemental projector, white elephant to do all your damage. This build does not revolve around melee damage, but we're using the face puncher for a couple of reasons. And the first reason, and the most important reason, is because of the Guardian rank skill Groundbreaker. If you don't know what Groundbreaker does, when you do damage, and then you do a melee attack, your melee attack is going to do 10% of the damage you just did over the last 5 seconds. So pretty much, if you do damage and then you hit a melee attack, you're going to do more damage. And then, so the second reason we're using the face puncher is because of a skill that Amara has called Jab Cross. Whenever you deal melee damage, you're going to get bonus action skill damage, and that action skill damage is increased by a whole lot. And the third reason is just to get out of fight for your life. It's a pretty good weapon to get out of fight for your life with, even though we're not spec'd into any melee skills, you can get out of fight for your life pretty well. And so this build is really not that hard to get. The only thing that I'd say takes a little bit of farming to get is the Revolter with an action skill start. But you can just get any Revolter and then re-roll it to get action skill start. So you just need like a Revolter and that's it. And then same with the Face Puncher. Face Puncher is a super common drop. All you need is just one with the URAD anointment, which is while under 50% health, gain 150% bonus radiation damage. Because that is going to apply to like everything, like your grenades, your action skill, your gun damage, your melee damage, everything. And yeah, those are the only two things that are really hard, that are like a little bit difficult to get. The class mod, get literally any phase Zerker. I have one with action skill damage and action skills cooldown rate, which is really, really good for this build because this is an action skill build. An Icebreaker Deathless. You don't need an Icebreaker Deathless. Actually, the best that you could get would probably be a stone deathless, like a corrosive stone deathless. But really, you can get any deathless. I'm just using this Icebreaker Deathless because it was what I had on my Amara. It was just the first thing I had, and it works perfectly. And then the grenade, you have two options. You can either get a Vindicator Gas Call or any other grenade with the anointment on grenade thrown. Weapon, grenade, and actual damage are increased by 25% for 6 seconds. So you never really need this anointment because your action skill does so much damage that 25% is not going to increase it by that much. But it is kind of useful if you're trying to get those sweet one-shots on bosses. But you can see in the clips in the beginning, I'm not really throwing my grenades, especially on like Psycho Reaver. I don't even throw a grenade and he's like the tankiest boss in the game. But so that's why I just like going for the Vindicator Gas Call. You can also... So the Vindicator Gas Call doesn't drop with anointments, so if you got it during the event, then you won't have it anointed because that's just how the event worked. You can't get anointed gear from it. So an unanointed one works well as well. I just like it because if there's just like a tough enemy, then I can throw out a grenade, and it actually does a lot of damage when combined with the URAD anointment. So I just like it a lot because of that. So try to get a Vindicator Gas Call, and if you can't, then get any grenade with that anoint. And then, like I said earlier, Revolter with action skill start. That actually increases your action skill damage by 200%, because if you don't know what this does, you become shock and rage whenever your shield depletes. So with action skill start, you activate it, and then you can see I have like that shock status effect on me. It doesn't do any damage to you, but you gain 200% action skill damage, which is just why we're using it. It's really, really good. It also, I'm fairly certain it procs Groundbreaker, not procs Groundbreaker. Like, I'm fairly certain the damage you get on a melee hit from Groundbreaker will also be increased by the Revolter, but I'm not entirely sure about that. So don't quote me on that, but you might do that. For the skill tree, something unique about this, you can see that like we're going down green tree and going down blue tree and a little bit into red tree. We don't have any melee skills. We're not getting Illuminated Fist, we're not getting Find Your Center, and we're not getting Blitz. Because this build is anti-punch. You don't want to use melee. If you want, you can put points into there. Like, you can take points out of Anima and Tempest and put points into Illuminated Fist, Find Your Center, and Blitz. And that will make your melee a lot stronger, so it'll be easier to get out of fight for your life, and you can kill enemies really easily if you don't have your action skill. And that's also why you want to use a Stone Deathless, is because... the stone is just going to give you 80% bonus melee damage. But I'm not speccing into any of those skills just to prove how strong this build is. Like, you do not need those skills because most of your damage is coming from Groundbreaker. Because the way you want to play this build is you want to hit an enemy with your action skill, and it'll one-shot them. And then the overkill orb that you get from that will then hit another enemy. And then now the overkill damage from that orb hitting the enemy is fed into Groundbreaker, and the next shot of your gun, of your face puncher, will have all that Groundbreaker damage added to it, and you will pretty much hit damage cap every single time. Like, most of the time on a bad hit, like I hit an action skill and the orb hits someone, on a bad hit of that, I do about 450 million damage, and on a good hit, I can do damage cap easily. So that's why, like, Psycho Reaver, Grave Ward, every single boss in the game, you're just going to be able to one-shot. I wasn't able to one-shot Hemoverus because, for some reason, the overkill orbs just don't move in his arena. They just stick to the floor every single time. I don't know why, but I just wasn't able to get it to work because the overkill orbs wouldn't hit anyone, so I couldn't do the one-shot damage. But yeah, so if you want, you can put points into those melee skills that make your melee a lot stronger, but it's completely unnecessary because this is the opposite of a melee build. That's a non-melee build that uses the face puncher, and it does so much damage. So that pretty much covers it for the build. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and have a magnificent day.